There's something fundamentally wrong with Neo, and I think we need to talk about Neo stock. You can see that everything else is up. The entire market is ballooning up, like everything with Bitcoin and crypto market also going up. Tesla is up like another 10% essentially, almost back to all-time high now. I think it's 420 or so. And Neo just doing as it always does, either sideways or down. And the scary thing here is, to be honest, if you're an investor in Neo, like I am, to be honest, the scary thing here is what happens, the market has been up over the past weeks or so quite substantially. But if there's a, let's say, kind of rebound a little bit at least, the stock's going on another 10, 15%, giving back some of the gains momentarily, at least for a short term. Question is what's going to happen with Neo that hasn't followed up in the upswing, but most likely it's going to, as usual, go down when everything else goes down. So it's scary if you've been investing in this stock for 3-4 years and you see that the company is actually executing very well in terms of deliveries, right? You can see here that 40,000 in 2020, 90,000 next year in 21, another nice substantial improvement to 122,000 in 22, 160,000 last year, and well above 200,000 this year, and most likely I would say at the bare minimum quite a lot above 300,000 next year, even close to 400,000 I would say in terms of deliveries. So the deliveries are doing their job. It's even much better than Tesla. Look at Tesla, for example. So Tesla has gone from 500,000 in 2020, projected to do, I don't know, 2.2, in best case scenario 2.4 in 2025, but I think it's more closer at the current stage 2.2. Now that's nice improvement. That's like 4x or 4.5 times more sales, whereas Neo is on clear path to at the very minimum 8x I would say in the same time span. So essentially twice the rate of improvement than Tesla. So the question is, why is the stock not following up? And as I've always been raising my voice over the past month, I think it's as usual the infrastructure. Why on earth do we need to have 1,000 new swap stations every year, as the CEO said, essentially 100 or so every single month, when the current utilization rate is, I don't know, maybe 3 swaps per hour? Because remember, like, we are currently sitting at 33, 34 swaps per station per day, right? And you could argue that for half of the day, let's say people are sleeping half of the day, obviously not, but let's say people are sleeping half of the day, for the remaining half of the day, so 12 hours, they're doing like 3 swaps per hour. And if you count on 5 minutes per swaps, which obviously I think is less, I think currently it's at 3 or 3.5, but let's say 5 minutes for benefit of the doubt, they're doing essentially 3 swaps of a possible, let's say 12 swaps per hour. So the stations are not at the maximum at their threshold. They can easily stop building a swap station, and the fleet size could double from here now on at around 600,000 to over 1 million to 1.2 million next year or in 2026 early, and the swap station would even then do just fine. We wouldn't need any more swap stations. And then maybe slowly, when the profitability start to improve, there's less risk of another capital raise, then you can maybe hit on the gas a little bit. But this idea of that we have, like, why is it so essential to have more swap? If someone can answer that to me, like, what is the thing that we need to have 100 new swap station per month? Like, do we see that the people are using it? No, we don't. Like, it's improving for sure, it's improving, but we're still well off the supposed 60 swaps per station that the CEO said a few times, which would be the break even. And even then, even at 60, that's essentially 3 swaps for every hour of the day, right? So it doesn't point to the picture that maybe, sure, maybe, I don't know, like at 5 o'clock when everyone goes home, maybe a few people would need to wait. But come on, like, is it so important to risk the entire company's future based on a potential what if scenario if someone, waits in line one time out of, I don't know, 10 or so? So even at 60 swaps per day per station, there's still, they could easily do 120 swaps with a little bit of smart planning and they would do just fine. They could easily service. Currently, they have 30 swaps per station, roughly 32 maybe, with a fleet size of 600,000 or so. Even if the fleet size triples or quadruples from here, with let's say quadruples, and we go from 30 swaps per day to 120. 120 swaps per day, it's essentially six or five swaps per hour. Still well, below the maximum limit of each station. So the question is, what is the point? Why are we wasting the company's potential just to do this whole, swaps? And to me, honestly, I have to be honest. I think we need to start to, voice our concerns. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm open for changing my mind. I would love to see your comments. Please change my mind, but I don't see it. The only positive thing that I can see is that some people are believing that the gross margin in the next week's earnings will be better than expected. It could be true. I don't know what the basis for that is. I just went, that, yeah, obviously you can see that the vehicle delivery increases around 7.8% compared to the previous quarter. And I think the average sales price, even actually, if you look at my numbers, what I've done, the average sales price is, I'm assuming it's a little bit higher than previous quarter. It could, for all we know, it could be lower. But based on that, I arrived at a gross margin of 10.8. Could it be wrong? Could it be, way too conservative? Sure. Let's say it's 10.8. We have a net loss at around 674 million, which you can see here, 674 million. So if I change this number now to 12.8, the net loss, goes from 675 to 622. A nice improvement, but still, not. I wouldn't say, this wouldn't give enough confidence to the market. It would improve for sure a little bit, but it's just I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. If you have any ideas why the gross margin would be much better to the upside, I would be open for any new ideas. But I think the problem here is, and the most frustrating thing for me as an investor is, it's not like they don't have the option to do this. They could any day they want be as profitable, if not much more than Xpeng. Look at Xpeng's return this year. The lows was at 655. They're like 150% above the lows. So even if it would be a market crash, they could easily, be way above the lows than they were in the last 52 weeks. But just think about it. What's gonna happen with Nio? If there's a huge market crash here, what do you think is gonna happen with Nio? We're gonna go to, I don't know, like 3 again, maybe less than 3. That's the risk. And so, do you honestly think it's worth it to spend all the company's, financial resources on building out these swap stations that people are using, sure, increasingly as well, but not enough? I mean, we don't need these swap stations. I don't know how many times I have to say this. It doesn't look like people are using it enough at the moment. Maybe in the future things will change, but currently people are not using them enough. And the price that we pay for this is this, frustration that everything goes up every single day and Neo doesn't do anything. In fact, it goes worse. And at some point we have to hold up our hands and acknowledge that, maybe the critics are right. I don't think this is a conspiracy out there that someone hates Neo stock more than any other, let's say, Chinese electric manufacturer. Why would they hate Neo more than Xpeng? There is no reason for it. If there would be, honestly, I would love it to be the truth, but there's none. So it's just, I believe the difference between Xpeng and Neo is that despite Xpeng delivering 50% less cars than Neo this year, well, I would say maybe not 50%, but let's say 30% less cars. You can see Neo at 170,000 currently year to date, Xpeng at 122,000. Despite that, people are seeing that Xpeng is almost on break even, and with the new car launching very soon, other than the Mona 3, which was very successful, the sedan, I think Xpeng is the, honestly, I mentioned that recently I started to move over a little bit of my holdings to Xpeng from Neo. I'm not sad about it because I'm already up 30% on that change. And I would have lost, I don't know, another 20% if I would stay in Neo. So I'm still have much more in Neo than Xpeng, I have to be honest. I really want Neo to get success from here, but I'm just getting really frustrated with the management. And the worst part is, as I mentioned, the worst part is that they can easily change the situation. They could, I mean, if I promise you, if Libyan comes out and says, we're gonna take the battery swap station infrastructure and build out, like slow it down by 85 to 90%. I think the stock would skyrocket. Some of you believe that, oh, that would, give a bad signal out to the market that the swap station doesn't work. No, it does. It definitely does work because people are using it and it actually increases in terms of usage. But it's just, we have to be nuanced about this. We don't need this like fast pace of build out, which actually risks the company's future. Like we have, Neo has a lot of money and cash on hand at the current stage. Sure, no problem about it. Let's look at what we can see here. This is the cash position roughly as of the last earnings Q2, which was 5.7 billion, which decreased by 600 million compared to Q1 and decreased by 1.8 billion or so in compared to Q4 of last year. And I believe it's gonna decrease by another, half a billion, a little bit more than half a billion, maybe 600 million or so. So they have money on hand, but it's not infinite. And if they don't show any substantial improvement in the margins and net loss, I think we're gonna be stuck at these levels. In best case scenario, we'll see a wild rally to, I don't know, 8 or 10, and then people realize that this company is not making any money, and then by the time, let's say, the summer of next year, Xpeng could possibly make a lot of money, to be honest. And yeah, I could easily see Xpeng going to 30 before Neo goes to 15, for sure. Yeah, I think that. So yeah, please share, like and subscribe and share your ideas. And I understand that some of you are on the view that they should build out the swap station still, and I respect that view. But honestly, I think the proof is in the pudding, and I think the market has spoken for the past 3 years. Just if they slow it down a little bit, it would make us all a bit more happier. So thank you for watching, and yeah, see you in the next one.